Everyone. Thank you for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. Maybe morning there, or even or afternoon there, or in the middle of the night, wherever you are. It is June 19th, 2025. My internet was down for a couple hours, so I couldn't get on sooner for this newest update for you all. And I do have quite a few. So, I'm going to start with this article here. Trump's 2-week Iran decision timeframe eases pressure on the president. So he's decided that he wants to mull this over for around 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, he says. And this woman, the article that this journalist posted on it says, there's been a voracious debate among Trump's own supporters about whether or not the U.S. should be directly involved in these attacks against Iran. The president has really been torn between these two sides. There are some very prominent MAGA voices who are isolationists. Well, that's not really the right word for that. It's people who just don't want to be in unnecessary, wasteful wars that have nothing to do with the interest of the American people. And that has been the case for the past 50 years or so. We've been in wars that don't really have anything to do with bettering the American people. So, I don't think that's the right word. Who say the U.S. should not interfere in another foreign war. Certainly that is something that Trump had promised he would not do as president. Yes, that's true. That's right. But then there are also those who are war hawks that are among his advisors, as well as perhaps Trump's own tendency. No, not really. We know that Trump really doesn't like war. That's why it really was ticking me off that he was jumping ahead on that, and I'm not really for. I mean, I always was told, Colonel McGregor says his instinct is not war. Given he has, I don't know why this article keeps doing this other than they have updates. Given he has publicly threatened to bomb Iran in the past, and he has been very applaudatory of Israel's military successes in Iran. But there is also a caveat. We heard that 2 weeks mentioned in the deadline. It may not be literal. It could be, but perhaps it isn't, given Trump has often used that phrase to mean he will make a decision shortly or even indefinitely. It's just hard to say, but it certainly does buy him some more time and eases the pressure to make an immediate decision. Well, I agree with that. We'll see. I will say that just something that's popped up for me. I will say that in part of the prophecies, there is the case that after this Iran-Israel conflict that blows up in the Middle East, there is a very short kind of peacetime, quote unquote, meaning nothing is happening for a little bit. In that portion of time, we don't know how long that would be, but I was the saints that have mentioned this, that the Metropolitan Neophytus talked about, was saying just a little breather before the big main center and core of this world war. So we shall see. Let's go back into here. I was talking in my last video. I told you I saw the video of the, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Sejjil, Iranian Sejjil missile, and I'm going to show you a video on this, a short one, and then some damage that Iran's that missile did today, this morning, or early this morning, I think it was, in Israel. Oh, here it is. See if I can open it bigger. All right.
Have you ever wondered how a single nation could rise to dominate half the known world and still be at the center of
Iran has just launched 5 long-range Sejjil missiles at Israel, a bold and dangerous move. 3 missiles struck key Israeli military targets, while 2 were intercepted by the Iron Dome defense system. This marks the first ever operational use of the Sejjil missile by Iran's Revolutionary Guard, capable of hitting targets over 2,000 kilometers away. Experts warn this signals a dramatic shift in Tehran's military strategy and could ignite broader regional conflict. Tensions in the Middle East are now at a critical tipping point, and the world is watching closely.
Okay, that is quite a... that looks like something out of an alien movie. It is quite astounding, quite fantastical, almost like a phantom. In any case, it obviously is a very powerful weapon, which you'll see here in this one when they those missiles struck the heart of Israel's economy, which is the stock exchange. I'm going to play that for you now. That looked like a tornado or something. Okay, I'm going to go back here for just a minute. Oops. Hold on. I want to stop it here because when I first saw this particular shot, it just reminded me of the World Trade Center on 9/11. This picture right here just reminded me so much of that. Just wanted to say that. Okay. So, yeah, they pretty much destroyed the stock exchange building, and I think they also targeted and destroyed part of the IDF building, I think. Yeah, because it was next to a hospital. They put the IDF buildings are right next to hospitals and school. You know, I don't know about schools, but there's the hospitals right there. And I just thought, they sit there, Israel sits there and says that Hamas hides in schools, hides in hospitals, hides underground in tunnels in hospitals. But here you see this. So, I mean, there's a lot of projecting to me that the Israelis do, is they say, oh yes, they're doing whoever it is, Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran, whatever. They're the ones using human shields. Well, that's false. The truth actually is that Israelis have been doing that for years. It's one of their assassinations, false flags, and projecting and these kind of things. That's what they've done since their existence as a state. Okay, now what I'm going to go into next is Matt Gaetz' post on X. He says, if the world is interested in secret nuclear programs in the Middle East, there is a country that doesn't allow any IAEA inspectors. It's Israel. So, bravo to him. A lot of people are coming forward, they say showing courage, which is really sad that people think they, you have to have courage to speak out about a foreign country is beyond me. But kudos to Matt Gaetz as well as Marjorie Taylor Greene on staying out of this mess and pointing out that it was Israel that made the first move to bomb Iran preemptively. And, you hear all these people, there was, I think it was the West, of course. Oh, well, chastising Iran for what's going on when they aren't the ones that started this. I mean, it's outrageous what you watch. It's just unbelievable. I don't know, gaslighting seems to be the thing going on here. So, again, kudos to Matt Gaetz for that. Now, he's never been a bought off congressman by Israel, because he was one of the two. I think him and I think Massey are the only. Although I heard Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't get money from Israel, but very few. He's like one of the very, very few that did not take money from AIPAC. Okay, the next thing I want to share is a little bit of information from... I also want to say that Putin did a Q&A in St. Petersburg at some symposium type of thing, and he allowed, as usual, a whole host of journalists, the press, in. And he usually does this for like 3-4 hours. He'll just keep taking the questions and answering. It's quite amazing. And I heard that Alex Christoforou reported that both the AP and Reuters were there. And so, as he said, you would never see that in this country. Can you imagine? Oh, let's allow the Russian reporters to come in here and talk. You never hear that. We don't really allow that. I'm going to share something else now. It's Alex Craner on Nima's Dialogue Works. And it's just a short little piece I want to play for you on this.
The whole story about the Iranian nuclear program is exactly as fake and as phony as the story about Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction. From the very get-go, the name of the game was regime change. That's what they're after. They don't care about peace and stability in the region. Nobody's worried about Iranians having nuclear weapons. Really. Iran hasn't attacked anybody since, I think, 1730s, 1740s. So for nearly 300 years, Iran never attacked any of their neighbors. On the other hand, you have Israel that has been attacking their neighbors practically nonstop since they've existed as a country. And we see that their leadership are a bunch of genocidal maniacs with absolutely no moral compass and no humanity whatsoever. But we're all worried about the Iranians as a threat to peace in the world. And then nobody's even daring to mention that Israel has up to 300 nuclear warheads.
Yes, which is what Matt Gaetz was trying to say, as, hey, and he says later, by the way, if you go down and you read he says, I wish every country would give up their nuclear weapons. And, and this person says he's calling for both Iran and Israel to give up their nukes. Yes, because Israel has had them for ages. They hide it and pretend like they don't, but it's false. It's not true. And I agree with Matt. I wish the atomic bomb was never made. I wish that the nuclear weapons didn't exist. It's just terrible. It's catastrophic and disastrous. But humanity makes all kinds of terrible weapons, to kill people. like chemical weapons, which to me seem totally inhumane. Should never be using these kind of things. I mean, not like any weapon is humane, but there's just something really sinister about chemical weapons, in my opinion. Okay, so Alex Craner explained that Iran, and I heard Kim Iverson mentioned yesterday that it's been, the Ayatollah Khomeini has been in 40 years, or she said 47 years, I believe, and they hadn't attacked anybody. And then Alex Craner just said, it's like 300 years. They haven't. The Persian Empire has been around a long time, by the way. And so, as I've said, I mean, it's kind of the same as China. China isn't one to want to get into conflicts and wars either. And anyway, I have a couple more things to show you, and then we'll be caught up for this segment. All right. Where did that go? Let me see. All right. It's on the cradle. Israel cracks down on coverage of Iran's missile strikes, accuses reporters of helping the enemy. I will say that Iran is pretty strict on news agencies getting anything out as well, but it seems in this case pretty bad. Military censorship has been significantly heightened since the state of Israel's war and Iran's retaliatory strikes. Israeli police suspended the broadcasts of several foreign media outlets and news agencies from the sites where Iranian missiles fell on the morning of 19 June. Israeli authorities claim that filming, photographing, and releasing information about the sites of missile attacks helps, quote-unquote, the Iranian enemy and threatens security. But the police moved to confiscate equipment and cameras from media crews on Thursday morning. Patrol units were ordered to take action against news agencies, this is in quotes, utilized by Al Jazeera to transmit unauthorized and unlawful content. Yes, I believe they kicked them out because I saw a news report the other day from Al Jazeera, I think it was 1 or 2 days ago, saying that they were reporting from Jordan because they'd been kicked out, they'd been banned. And so Al Jazeera was banned by Israel last year for slander, quote unquote, and for serving as a mouthpiece for Hamas and other resistant groups. I'm not really quite sure how that can be, because I believe Al Jazeera is owned and is owned by the UAE, United Arab Emirates. But that's that's a Gulf state, and it's a Western connection with the U.S. and the West. I don't think they're particularly. I don't think they would particularly be crazy about Hamas. Okay. The decision was made in accordance with the policy of the National Security Minister and under the directive of Police Commissioner Danny Levy. Israeli police raided the offices of several foreign television crews earlier this week, following Iranian ballistic missile operations targeting sensitive infrastructure in the Haifa area. Okay, so Israel has a history of cracking down on journalists by censoring, targeting, detaining, or killing them. Well, they certainly did. They certainly have in Gaza. It says this was from Al Jazeera on June 17th. Broadcasts that show exactly where the missiles land on the state of Israel are a danger to state security. Well, that's their opinion, but news people, that's where they're supposed to be. At least, I think news journalists, I believe journalists, started embedding in war zones. I believe was it Vietnam maybe the first time? I think Vietnam was maybe the first time they started to embed journalists in with the at least with the side they're with. So, for instance, like American journalists were embedded in U.S. Army units, and then that carried over to the Gulf War and things like that. Anyway, last thing I want to share that's I think is important is this thing. What is Iran's Fordow nuclear facility, and could U.S. weapons destroy it? This has been a question over the past couple of days. So I'm going to go with what they have here. Israel's hit on Iran's main uranium enrichment site at Natanz on Friday destroyed the above-ground part of the facility and is believed to have damaged its underground uranium enrichment capabilities, although Israel also fired missiles at Fordow, home to another facility where nuclear fuel can be purified. That base is believed to still be fully functional. This week, speculation has mounted over whether the U.S. would supply Israel with the weapons necessary to strike inside the Fordow plant, which is deep underground and much harder to access than Natanz. So here's Israeli, okay, here, bunker buster bombs. This is explaining what this is. Bunker busters are used to destroy targets located deep underground that conventional bombs cannot reach. We have the picture, the B-2 Spirit, quite an interesting looking aircraft, I must say. It does have kind of a sleek look, doesn't it? The stealth U.S. bomber is currently the only aircraft designed to deploy the GBU-57. So you see that the two owned by Israel are smaller, obviously, than the US's. But let's see, they have the BLU-109, the GBU-28. Now, the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator. So it can, its warhead is 2,700. So 5,952 pounds. Quite huge. Now, that BLU-109, that was used in 2024 to kill Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, which was terrible, in his underground headquarters in Beirut. Nasrallah was meeting for peace talks. Huh. Isn't that something? So they did the same thing to Nasrallah as they did to Iran this go around. Oh, let's do some talks, and then they blow the people up. How insidious, how evil can you get? That is just terrible. Anyway, so you see how far these go in. So the concrete there, that's the line. 6 to 8 feet, it says, for that first one, the BLU 109. Now their second one is that GBU 28. It goes 16 to 20 feet. So bombs can be dropped one after another, effectively drilling deeper and deeper with each successive blast. Now, this is showing how far the bunker buster bomb can go down. It can penetrate about 200 feet below the surface before exploding. So what is known about this, and can it be destroyed? Fordow was originally built as a military facility for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It is located 18.5 miles northeast of the city of Qom in northwestern Iran and is reportedly hundreds of meters inside a mountain. So you can imagine getting through the mountain, getting through the concrete. Iran disclosed its conversion to a nuclear site in a letter to the International Atomic Energy Agency, the global nuclear watchdog, on September 21st, 2009, after learning that Western intelligence services already knew about it. So, days later, the United States, Britain, and France confirmed publicly that they were indeed aware of a secret fuel enrichment plant at Fordow. Conclusive intelligence that Iran was trying to install 3,000 centrifuges at the site was gathered in early 2009. By September, Fordow's conversion was nearing completion. Fordo is the only Iranian facility at which IAEA inspectors have found particles of uranium purified to near weapons-grade purity. That happened during an unannounced inspection in 2023. That's funny because they never inspect Israel's nuclear sites, do they? No. Okay. As we said, that they're biased, the IAEA, toward the West. I explained that last time. Now, Fordo is built on the into the side of a mountain. So again, tunnel entrances. Okay, as it shows you on the map where that's located. Estimated to be 260 feet under rock and soil. Okay. No, Israel did not strike Fordo. Now, as I said the other day, that the IAEA Director General said no damage has been seen at the site of this plant. Okay. To build a nuclear weapon, uranium... Okay, so it must be enriched to about 90%. Okay, and the last time I was heard, it was 20% to 60%. And I want to say that I saw a video, Danny Davis's show the other day. He was speaking to Ted Postal, who is a nuclear expert, and he said that Americans, their bunker buster, and cannot get down to where this nuclear facility is. And then Scott Ritter said the other day that he too said that the bunker buster bomb cannot get down. It would not reach this facility. And he also said that he didn't even think a nuclear warhead could get down there. He said it's possible maybe if you, as I said, you keep hitting that site to drill down with these weapons, maybe. But it doesn't seem as likely that would happen, but who knows. In any case, I thought you might find that interesting. I certainly did. That's why I shared it. I think I got all I wanted to say out right now. Pardon me. I might be back later for a second. So thanks so much for following my channel. Please, if you haven't, follow my channel on Rumble. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Would really appreciate it. Please like my videos if you like them. Share your comments on any of them. And what do you think that 2 weeks is going to mean for President Trump? You know, the either or that I brought up. What are your thoughts on that? What does that actually mean to you? Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.